Just record to the cloud. I hope it works because I've got no recording anywhere else. Am I on Facebook?
Says Facebook.
Okay, let me go down here and see if I can beat this one.
It does say live, but your picture does not show up and you're not speaking.
Okay, well, on mine it's speaking now, so maybe it just clicked in. So
Okay.
I hope this is going live on the regular Zoom cloud because it's not recording from mine. I'll just have to get the other computer fixed, y'all. I'm sorry. We'll try to record it on the other one here and see how it comes out. And if it not, maybe I can download it from Facebook later. Anyway, hello everyone. I'm having lots and lots of technical difficulties. I had two computers crash today, so I'm kind of going on a whim and a prayer tonight. So if I seemed a little rattled, that's probably why. I've been working on it all afternoon. Can't figure it out, and I hear myself now. Are you muted over there? Okay, maybe that'll fix it. That may have fixed it. Okay, let's start with the Urantia companions. Let's just get into it. I'm not even going to pray. You want to go ahead and with that one? Go ahead and unmute yourself. I'll mute myself.
Okay. You're not going to keep it on the screen, no. Okay, all right. These hosts of the mansion and Urantia worlds are the offspring of a local universe mother spirit. They are created from age to age in groups of 100,000. And in Nebadon, there are at present over 70 billion of these unique beings.
70 billion. That's a lot of Urantia companions. Okay, and we're going to learn tonight that they're created in groups of 100,000, and the Urantia companions are there when you wake up and will go with you and help you along and help you get situated, make sure that you're comfortable all the way through this process. And they go all the way to the local universe headquarters. And I'm going to move this because this cat is going to walk all over me. Okay. Let's see. At present time, there's over 70 billion. Imagine that. So that's a lot of Urantia companions.
That was 100 years ago.
Yeah, that's 100 years ago. That's right. Who knows how many there are now, right?
Roger?
Yes.
And so they keep multiplying them because there's more finalitors coming?
That's correct. Well, not finale, there's more people dying and going to the mansion worlds.
Yeah.
As more people go to the mansion worlds, they need more Urantia companions to meet these individuals as they wake up in the resurrection chambers. So they're assigned a Urantia companion either individually or as groups so that they can get them used to their new surroundings, where they are, and make them comfortable, right? And that's their job, and this is how they were trained. So let's go on to the next one. I have no idea who's who here. I have no pictures. Let's see, Rodney, I think you're the next one up tonight.
Urantia companions are trained for service by the Melchizedeks on a special planet near Salvington. They do not pass through the central Melchizedek schools. In service, they range from the lowest mansion worlds of the systems to the highest study spheres of Salvington, but they are seldom encountered on the inhabited worlds. They serve under the general supervision of the sons of God and under the immediate direction of the Melchizedeks.
So we know that we actually, can y'all hear me all right tonight?
Yes.
Okay. We know that we actually go through many of the Melchizedek training spheres, right? But the Morancha companions don't. They are trained separately as a group on a special planet just for them near Salvington, our headquarters, the local universe. And as they pass through these schools, they actually start out in the lowest of the mansion worlds, which would be mansion world number 1. And this is all the mansion worlds for all the local systems, right? Not just ours. But it says here they are seldom encountered on the inhabited worlds. And why would that be? Because those that are going to the inhabited worlds, like student visitors and that sort of beings, would have beings assigned on the planet to help them along, like Morancha beings that are already on the planet, that live on the planet, that receive student visitors. Many times the archangels will do this, or the local seraphim will do this, and take groups around that are student visitors and seeing what's going on in a particular planet. Okay, so the Morancha companions are not used for that function normally. I guess they could be, because it says they're seldom seen on the planets, but I guess they make exceptions for certain things, right?
Well, Roger,
Mm-hmm.
don't you think when that 40 days Jesus was resurrected, they were here with him?
I am not sure about that, Rodney, because being that Jesus was the Son of God, and once he was resurrected, he had full knowledge of who he was and where he came from and all that. So I don't really think a Morancha companion would be necessary for Jesus. You see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
he already had pre-knowledge of everything, before he came. So he would have that knowledge back when he was going through his Morancha experience, right? So
Okay.
he wouldn't be an individual that would require, we almost require a Morancha companion, because when we wake up, you can imagine the confusion there must be in our minds. We're going into a new body, in a new location, new surroundings. Our eating, drinking, everything is going to be in the Morancha form instead of the physical form, in the mortal form any longer. So we really need a lot of help to get our footing once we
Yeah,
get
to
there.
show us where to go and what to
Where to
eat.
do, what to eat, to wear, whether to wear clothes or not, that would be important, that sort of thing. So these Morancha companions would be very, very important to us. Plus, they act as interpreters.
Figure out why sometimes they are what does it say here?
Does it rarely they're used on the planets?
Yeah.
Yeah. I am, other than special situations where they might send an envoy to a planet, or where something special was going on, where they needed a Morancha companion, maybe as an interpreter or something like that. Other than that, I don't know what else they'd be there for, because we know they don't allow us to go back to the planet, do they?
Correct.
Right, for 1,000 years. So there would be no reason for us to go back, or any other early being, that's just getting to the mansion worlds, to go back to a local planet. You see what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
I think it would be a rare occasion that they would be used on the individual planets, mostly on mansion world and above, all the way up to system headquarters. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Rodney, would you take the next one?
Okay, I'll read it too.
Oh, did you read?
Yeah,
Just read?
yeah.
He just read. I think Jane is up.
I'm rattled, y'all. Jane, would you take the next one?
Okay. The Morantia companions maintain 10,000 headquarters in a local universe on each of the first mentioned worlds of the local systems. They are almost wholly a self-governing order, and are in general an intelligent and loyal group of beings, but every now and then, in connection with certain unfortunate celestial upheavals, they have been known to go astray. Thousands of these useful creatures were lost during the time of the Lucifer rebellion in Satania. Your local system now has its full quota of these beings, the loss of the Lucifer rebellion having only recently been made up.
Okay, three or four things in this paragraph that are really important. Okay, first, they're a self-governing order. What does that mean? In other words, they're controlled by their own group. Okay, kind of like we're supposed to be self-governing, but we don't, the celestial beings don't have total idiots running the show. So that's the difference. I say that lightly, don't I? Something like that. Anyway, but they said thousands of these creatures were lost during the Lucifer rebellion. So they are all free will. And when they go astray, they go through the same judgment as we do. Okay. So having the fact that thousands of them were lost, that means some of them rebelled and refused to repent. So what happened to them?
They were arrested.
They were arrested and they lost the right to life, just like we do. Okay. So, and it says here that the full quota of these beings has been made up since the Lucifer rebellion. So that's good news for us that the celestial authorities have already started straightening out all these beings that rebelled, right? So large numbers of them have already been adjudged and already been replaced. You see what I'm saying? Which is sad, but good news too. It's sad for the fact of the loss of all these beings. It's good in the fact that when we get there, there'll be the full quota of companions there. But it reminds me of something out of the book of Revelation. When it talks about the wars in heaven and during the Lucifer rebellion. And it talks about this in the Urantia book, that when there's a upheaval in the celestial realms and war breaks out in heaven or in the mansion worlds or wherever, they say that that type of war is the most devastating war that can ever happen. And why do you think that is?
It's total betrayal.
It's a total betrayal, and those that are lost forever. If you get killed in a war on this planet, what happens? You still go on the mansion worlds, right? But if you rebel in the celestial realm and have been found, have been adjudicated as rebellion, then what happens? The life force is taken out of you. So this is a permanent loss. They don't ever come back. Okay, so a war in heaven is 100 times worse than if you have a war on a planet, right? So that's one of the things I wanted to mention here. But it's good for us because they have made up the losses that did occur during the Lucifer rebellion. All right. Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm going crazy here. All right, who's up next?
Pam.
I
Pam?
think I am, yeah.
Okay.
There are two distinct types of Morantia companions. One type is aggressive, the other retiring, but otherwise they are equal in status. They are not sex creatures, but they manifest a touchingly beautiful affection for one another. And while they are hardly companionate in the material human sense, they very much close to kin to the human race in the order of creature existence. The midway creatures of the worlds are your nearest of kin. Then come the Morantia cherubim, and after them the Morantia companions.
So if you think of the pecking order of the universe, the mortals are on the bottom, then come the midwayers, and then come the cherubim, and the Morantia companions are the next higher up. Okay, so that's what they're talking about here. And they're not male and female, but they are a positive and negative or aggressive and retiring, and they assign the companions to people according to what type of companion they will be most compatible with. Okay, so if you're a very aggressive, outgoing person, you probably would get a more retiring companion.
Yeah.
But if you're very, if you're very retiring yourself and you're not very forceful, you'll probably get a more aggressive companion to bring you out. You see what I'm saying? And they've thought about
So
everything.
yeah.
That makes sense. You have y'all gonna have to let me know if you have a question tonight because I can't see anybody. Okay. No,
Understood.
I'm going dark. Okay, so normally I can see everybody's picture.
Screen.
Yeah, when they talk, it comes
They
up,
talk.
but I can't see anybody
Okay.
at all. So now you will come up on the recording because I have the recording set for speaker view. I hope that's what's recording. I can't say. It may come out as Galleria. I don't know. We're just going in the dark today. So anyway, I think Gary is next. Is there anybody else out there that I don't know is out there?
No,
No,
Okay.
you need to change the slide.
Oh, sorry, Gary.
Okay,
Thank
Y'all
you.
keep me straight.
There you
you
go.
ready?
Yeah, go
These
ahead.
companions are touchingly affectionate and charmingly social beings. They possess distinct personalities. And when you meet them on the Mansion Worlds, after learning to recognize them as a class, you will soon discern their individuality. Mortals all resemble one another. At the same time, each of you possess a distinct and recognizable personality.
Okay.
So that
I'm
means
sorry.
I will lose my good looks and trade them in for somebody else's.
What good looks was
Correct?
that, Gary?
Huh?
I can't even see his reaction.
I
Say
told you
something.
before, Roger. I'm rubbing off on you.
I know. Oh, okay, let me go here. So these are charmingly touching and affectionately charming social beings. So they like each other, right? And they like all the people that they work with. That would be us, and that would be a big order if you think about it, right? Says you're first recognize them as a class. What does that mean? In other words, when we get to the mansion world, we'll be able to see them automatically. Okay, because they're close akin to us. And then you will also discern them individually as individual personality. All right. But the Morancha companions may look a lot alike, but you'll be able to distinctly know them by each one's personality, just like we know each other by our personality. Okay. That makes pretty big sense, I think. All right. Go on to the next one. Who's up next? I think Diane's up again.
Yes.
Something of an idea of the nature of the work of these Morancha companions may be derived from the following classification of their activities in a local system. Okay. One, pilgrim guardians are not assigned to specific duties in their association with the Morancha progressors. These companions are responsible for the whole of the Morancha career and are therefore the coordinators of the work of all other Morancha and transition ministers.
Okay, so the Pilgrim Guardians, you don't want to think of them as like really guarding you against something as you would think. Okay, the Pilgrim Guardians guard your progress as you go through the mansion worlds and your plan of action as you go through there, because there's a lot of different side trips you can make and things you can do. So these Pilgrim Guardians actually guard your decided pathway so that they can keep you on track to do what you set out to do. Okay, so that's why they're called pilgrim guardians. You can think of it more like the Pilgrim's Progress. You either ever read the book Pilgrim's Progress, where it was a trip. Okay, and that's what the pilgrim guardians do. As pilgrims, you have a specific set trip that you try to go on as you go through the mansion worlds and through these worlds. And so the pilgrim guardians help you stay on your pilgrim progress. Make sense? All right.
Almost sounds like a guide.
It does in
Yeah,
a
it
way.
does.
Yeah. All right. All right. Let's go on to the next one.
2, pilgrim receivers and free associates.
Associators. Right.
These are the social companions of the new arrivals on the mansion worlds. One of them will certainly be on hand to welcome you when you awaken on the initial mansion world from the first transit sleep of time, when you experience the resurrection from the death of the flesh into the Morantia life. And from the time you are thus formally welcomed on awakening to that day when you leave the local universe as a first stage spirit, these Morantia companions are ever with you.
Okay. So when you wake up, there'll be a Morantia companion there on hand, along with your guardian angels and everybody else there. Gonna have quite a crew there.
Wow.
I know, really.
You know,
So much for privacy.
so much for privacy. I hope they have clothes on us. Anyway, so there'll be one there to when you awaken to reassure you that everything is going according to plan, everything is fine and hunky-dory, and get you started on your pathway of what you're supposed to do. Okay, so you won't ever feel like, why am I here? What am I doing? Where am I supposed to go? Type thing, right? One of these companions will be there to help you out.
Mm.
All right. Let's see here.
Companions,
Jane, yeah.
companions are not assigned permanently to individuals. An ascending mortal on one of the mansion or higher worlds might have a different companion on each of several successive occasions, and again might go for a long periods without one. It would all depend on the requirements and also on the supply of companions available.
Okay, so you may not need a companion all the time, right? So on those periods of time when no companion is necessary for you, you may not have one. And other situations where they feel like you need a companion to keep your mind straight and keep you comfortable, and that you'd be reassigned. So you may not have the same companion all the way through this. These are interchangeable. Okay, so but they'll always be there, someone to help you. That's the whole point.
Like life.
Kind of like life, right?
Hosts to
Whatever.
celestial visitors. These gracious creatures are dedicated to the entertainment of the superhuman groups of student visitors and other celestials who may chance to sojourn on the transition worlds. You will have ample opportunity to visit within any realm you have experientially attained. Student visitors are allowed on all inhabited planets, even those in isolation.
Okay, so in the occasion that you go from world to world to go somewhere, you need an interpreter, right? You always need an interpreter. So that's one of the jobs that these companions will do, is if they're on a planet, they're host to any celestial visitor that comes to that planet, because they would be familiar with the language and the customs and things like that at that planet. You wouldn't want to just hop down to a planet and they have some strange custom that you have to bow to everyone or something like that and not know, then that would be embarrassing to you. So it's these companions would keep you straight on what the customs of that planet were, help interpret for you, things like that, so that when you visit other worlds or other transition worlds, you feel comfortable all the time. Okay. The buddy system, right?
Okay, you
All
ready?
right. Ready.
4. The co-coordinators and liaison directors. These companions are dedicated to the facilitation of Urantia intercourse and to the prevention of confusion. They are the instructors of social conduct and Urantia progress, sponsoring classes and other group activities among the ascending mortals. They maintain extensive areas wherein they assemble their pupils and from time to time make requisition on the celestial artisans and the reverse directors for the embellishment of their programs. As you progress, you will come in intimate contact with these companions. You will grow exceedingly fond of both groups. It is a matter of chance as to whether you will be associated with an aggressive or a retiring type of companion.
Okay, so the liaison directors and coordinators, that sort of thing, would help in social activities and things like that. And they may call on the celestial artisans or the reversion directors or both. Remember, the celestial artisans do all the embellishment of art and things like that to make things beautiful and make comfortable for you, right? And the same way with the reversion directors keep things light and, you know, joke and that sort of thing to make you feel very comfortable. So they may work with these coordinators and liaison directors to make a group or an individual feel at home and when they have to go somewhere unusual or visit another place. And they use all these aspects of it together so that every time you go to a new place or someplace unusual to you, you feel right at home. Okay? That's the whole point of this. So, you know, what's nice about this section is it lets you know that no matter where you end up in the mansion worlds or anywhere else, they always try to put you at ease, right? Regardless of whether your mate's there or not, or, you know, because you might get to the mansion worlds, you know, 20 years before your mate does. And so somebody needs to entertain you until they get there, you know. So this is reassuring to many people, but even people without mates, because they have family that's got there ahead of them, or they're waiting on family and that sort of thing. So no one feels like they're alone. And that's very important. I think you're up again here.
Can I ask a
Interpreters.
question?
Yeah, go right.
I thought at one time, once we crossed over, that one of the things we had to do was learn the language of the universe.
We do two languages, the local universe and the universe language, both, right?
Okay, then. Okay, so then each world has their own language, and we also have a universe language.
That's right. And that's what you need interpreters for almost every planet you go to, because they would have a local planet language, unless they were part of the federation of the local universe or the super universe, and they had already adopted the local universe language. Okay. But when you go to these planets, all the celestial beings will speak the local universe language to you, Nebadon, the universe of Nebadon. Okay. But when you get to the super universe, all planets will speak the language of Uversa, the super universe. But all other planets will have developed their own language on their own. So these interpreters and translators, companions and things like that are able to interpret not only the language of the local universe and the super universe, but also all the languages of all the beings come from different planets. So for instance, let me give you a good example of that. You wake up on the mansion world, there may be thousands and thousands of other beings from another planet that none of them speak English. Okay. So it would be a job of one of these interpreters to interpret whatever that being has to say to you, and in turn interpret the English language to that being back into their language, so that you could communicate with each other. Not only that, you have them as interpreters, but you also carry around what's called the harp of God. And the harp of God translates most languages for you, so you can communicate with almost anyone freely just by carrying the harp of God. Make sense? Pretty important, right? Okay.
Sounds like a smartphone with an interpretation program.
You got it.
5. Interpreters and translators. During the early Mansonia career, you will have frequent recourse to the interpreters and the translators. They know and speak all the tongues of a local universe. They are the can't say that word, linguists of the realms.
Okay, so these interpreters and translators know all the languages of all the planets, everything for you, so they help interpret. So there's no misunderstandings when you get there, right? All right. Go on to the next one. Learn more about language. Rodney, I think
Rodney.
yeah.
You will not acquire new languages automatically. You will learn a language over there much as you do down here. And these brilliant beings will be your language teachers. The first study on the Mansion worlds will be the tongue of Satania, and then the language of Nebadon. And while you are mastering these new tongues, the Moranchi companions will be your efficient interpreters and patient translators. You will never encounter a visitor on any of these worlds, but that some one of the Moranchi companions will be able to officiate as interpreter.
Very comforting.
It is comforting if you think about it, because you'll never be in a situation where you don't know what's going on, right? There'll always be someone there to interpret for you, so that you know exactly what everyone is saying, what's going on, and all that all the time, right? But like I said, we will have to learn the language of the local universe, just like we did here, right, on this planet, and the language of the super universe. And here's a picture of someone visiting here to, I can't make out that picture, it's too far, to the Mansion World #1. So he's got a Moranchi companion with him, so he can communicate with actually the Finaliners on that world. Okay. I can't see it very well because of the computer I'm on right now. So we'll go on to the next one. Okay. Excursion directors. Let's see. Jane, I think you're up next.
6. Excursion and reversion supervisors. These companions will accompany you on the longer trips to the headquarters sphere and to the surrounding worlds of transition culture. They plan, conduct, and supervise all such individual and group tours about the system worlds of training and culture.
Do you notice that everywhere, all the way up along the pathway, when you go to a different world, there's specialized beings that help take care of you and interpret everything for you. Now, the excursion and reversion supervisors actually help plan your trips. Like if you're going to the system headquarters world, or if you're going to world #2 for the first time, or world #3 for the first time, they would actually help plan, conduct, and supervise a group of beings that would be going to this world that would all want to do the like type things, right? So it's kind of like having a tour guide all the way through the local universe, right? And that's what these beings do. That's what they specialize in. All right.
Number 7, area and building custodians. Even the material and Morancha structures increase in perfection and grandeur as you advance in the Mansonia career. As individuals and as groups, you are permitted to make certain changes in the abodes assigned I sort of lost my, see. Rendered. As certain changes in the abodes assigned as headquarters for your sojourn on the different mansion worlds. Many of the activities of these spheres take place in the open enclosures of the variously designated circles, squares, and triangles. And the majority of the mansion world structures are roofless, being enclosures of magnificent construction and exquisite embellishments. The climatic and other physical conditions prevailing on the architectural worlds make roofs wholly unnecessary.
Because the temperature's regulated all the time, right? Even in the nighttime, you know, they have a period of rest where they turn down the lights, as if you would, you know, all the way around the planet at the same time. So it gives an appearance of like moonlight in the evening, so you can rest. And, you know, interesting part about this too is I always come back to this because it's so interesting. The fact that as you go up in spiritual ascension, you need less and less rest, right? You don't sleep anymore. And so these nighttime periods are really like a meditation period, you know, as you need less and less. I don't even know if you need any sleep after a period of time. So what they do is they make these periods of time where the light is reduced. And so you get the opportunity to rest and recuperate just like you did on this planet. Okay, which is kind of interesting. The other thing is it talks here, it says the area and building custodians. These are not janitors. Okay, that's not what they're talking about. These are the Morantia companions that make sure that the structures that you'll be staying is appropriate for you, make you feel comfortable. They'll take care of if they need to embellish it for you, whatever. These are the ones that would take care of that sort of thing for you. So you don't have to worry about it yourself. So you don't have to get to mansion world number 3 and say, I gotta remodel my house again. You know, so all taken care of you. All right. Let's see here.
Gary.
Gary.
Okay. The custodians of the transition phases of ascendant life are supreme in the management of Morantia affairs. They were created for this work, and pending the factualization of the Supreme Being, always will they remain Morantia companions. Never do they perform other duties.
So these beings were created perfectly for these types of jobs, and this is the jobs they'll always do. At least that's what they think until the full fruition of the Supreme. And all bets are off then. All right. All right.
Diane?
As systems and universes are settled in light and life, the mansion worlds increasingly cease to function as transition spheres of Morantia training. More and more, the finaliters institute their new training regime, which appears to be designed to translate the cosmic consciousness from the present level of the grand universe to that of the future outer universes. The Morantia companions are destined to function increasingly in association with the finaliters and in numerous other realms not at present revealed on Urantia.
So you can see here, they don't tell us everything, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because the finaliters will be working on bringing us up to snuff on what the outer space levels will mean. And so the Morantia companions will will change to that regime which the finaliters will be working on.
And also, we're all different, so we would need different kind of,
Yes.
I don't know.
Every
guidance.
planet, every
Yeah.
type of being,
Yeah.
you know, every type of created being is going to react differently
Mhm.
for different things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to do forever, really, indefinitely. So, all right. See, Rodney, I think you're up.
You can forecast that these beings are probably going to contribute much to your enjoyment of the mansion worlds, whether your sojourn is to be long or short, and you will continue to enjoy them all the way up to Salvington. They are not technically essential to any part of your survival experience. You could reach Salvington without them, but you would greatly miss them. They are the personality luxury of your ascending career in the local universe.
So they consider these beings a luxury to us to help us out, right? That's pretty special, any way you look at it.
Very comforting.
Yeah, it is. Okay, for the reversion director, Jane, would you take this one, please?
Joyful mirth and the smile equivalent are as universal as music. There is morontial and spiritual equivalent of mirth and laughter. The ascendant life is about equally divided between work and play, freedom from assignment.
Can we go this week?
Yes, please.
Right now.
I'm ready.
Me too.
Wake me when this is over.
Yes, exactly. Equally divided between work and play. Why is it I feel like we never have any play? Cats, where are you?
I'm gonna take all of our cats with us.
You're gonna take all the cats with us. Okay. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Celestial relaxation.
Celestial relaxation and superhuman humor are quite different from their human analogs, but we all actually indulge in a form of both. And they really accomplish for us in our state just about what ideal humor is able to do for you on Urantia. The Urantia companions are skillful play sponsors, and they are most ably supported by the reversion directors.
And that makes perfect sense because the reversion directors are in charge of mirth and laughter and this sort of thing, right? So they see that we're entertained in some way all the way through the process, which is great if you think about it.
It's a lot of it sounds like a vacation, and like it's a there's no charge.
Yeah, no, it's like being on a cruise that never ends, right?
Strange.
Wonder if they have escargot. Anyway, yeah. Reason I say that,
Yep.
when I was a much younger man, I went on a cruise once and I never had an escargot, and the guy brought a tray of escargot to the table. I thought, what is that? He goes, it's escargot. And he said, you know what escargot is, don't you? And I said, no. He said, snails. And I said, what? You want me to eat bugs?
Oh, they're not bugs. They're pretty good.
They are pretty good. I had to try one. I actually ate, like 4 out of the 6 of them. So, you just never know. Different people, different lifestyles. Okay. I think Gary's up again, isn't he? You out there, Gary?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
You would probably best understand the work of the reversion directors if they were likened to the higher types of humorists on Urantia, though that would be an exceedingly crude and somewhat unfortunate way in which to try to convey an idea of the function of these directors of change and relaxation. These ministers of the exalted humor of the Morancha and spiritual realms. So they're better than,
Our
God, I
best
can't think of the person I was thinking of.
comics.
Huh?
They're nothing like the human comics on TV or anything like that, right?
So it's
Yeah.
interesting. in the spiritual world, there's humor.
Humor,
Yes,
yeah,
there
there
is.
And they
yeah.
probably laugh at us.
Yeah, well, we have to laugh at each other and at ourselves too, you know? They talk about this in a little bit here about how most of our humor is about our past life experiences and how funny they were when we get enlightened, right? So kind of like today's computer thing, you know, you look back on it and I was in here y'all all afternoon trying to straighten out all this computer stuff and I never could get it to work right. And here we are tonight. And I thought, well, I think I got it fixed good enough to use tonight and it still didn't work. So, but you just got to laugh at it. What else? What do? You know, at least we're recording on Facebook. I know I can see that it's
Something.
recording. Something's getting recorded anyway. You know, how good it's going to be is anybody's guess, right? So in the meantime, the cat's laughing at me in the back there because I've been sitting here all day working on it. So. Okay, let's go on to the next one.
In discussing spirit humor, first let me tell you what it is not. Spirit jest is never tinged with the accentuation of the misfortunes of the weak and erring. Neither is it ever blasphemous of the righteousness and glory of divinity. Our humor embraces three general levels of appreciation.
So it's not anything like ours, right? You can figure that out right away. Okay, Rodney.
One, reminiscent jests, quips, growing out of the memories of past episodes and one's experience of combat, struggle, and sometimes fearfulness, and oftentimes foolish and childish anxiety. To us, this phase of humor derives from the deep-seated and abiding ability to draw upon the past for memory material with which pleasantly to flavor and otherwise lighten the heavy loads of the present.
Keeps us from taking ourselves too seriously, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Right. And that's what we all do all the time. All right.
Right.
Jane.
Two, current humor, the senselessness of much that so often causes us serious concern, the joy at discovering the unimportance of much of our serious personal anxiety. We are most appreciative of this phase of humor when we are best able to discount the anxieties of the present in favor of the certainties of the future.
Well, we
Nice.
all do that, don't we?
Mhm. No
Yeah.
faith.
Take
We have no
ourselves
faith.
too seriously all the time, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Pathetic joy. It will perhaps be difficult for mortals to envisage this phase of humor, but we do get a peculiar satisfaction out of the assurance that all things work together for good, for spirits and Merantians as well as for mortals. This aspect of celestial humor grows out of our faith in the loving overcare of our superiors and in the divine stability of our supreme directors.
Okay, so the more faith you have that you're being taken care of and the plan is going according to the plan like it's supposed to, the more prophetic joy you enjoy, right? Simple
Right.
as that. Okay, Gary, I think you're up next.
But the reversion directors of the realms are not concerned exclusively with depicting the high humor of the various orders of intelligent beings. They are also occupied with the leadership of diversion, spiritual creation, spiritual recreation, and Maracha entertainment. And in this connection, they have the hearty cooperation of these celestial artisans.
Now, y'all, the celestial artisans have planned for us pageants and things for us to go see and watch and enjoy and music and things that we can't even imagine, right? So this is the things we have to look forward to when we get to the mansion. You know, you can't discount it at all.
Hmm.
Wait, damn.
The reversion directors themselves are not a created group. They are a recruited core embracing beings ranging from the Havana natives down through the messengers, hosts of space, and the ministering spirits of time to the Marancha progressors from the evolutionary worlds. All are volunteers, giving themselves to the work of assisting their fellows in the achievement of thought change and mind rest. For such attitudes are most helpful in recuperating depleted energies.
Okay, so they do these things to help recuperate our energies over time because, you know, you take yourself too seriously for too long, it becomes a heavy burden over time. And we experience that all the time. You know, we experience that even in these meetings. If we stay too serious about this stuff, this would not be very enjoyable over time. You know,
Correct.
so you have to keep it kind of in perspective and light and what it is. And it's through your faith that you realize the importance of these things and you can transpose that into something that's enjoyable, you know?
Hmm.
Why else would you sit and listen to this old crazy guy a couple
Yeah.
times a week? You know?
So,
Cute.
I'm cute. You
When
hear that, Gary? My wife said I was cute.
when partially exhausted by the efforts of attainment, and while awaiting the reception of new energy charges, there is agreeable pleasure in living over again the enactments of other days and ages, the early experiences of the race, or the order, are restful to reminisce. And that is exactly why these artists are called reversion directors. They assist in reverting the memory to a former state of development or to a less experienced status of being.
Every time I read this paragraph, I think of that movie we saw. You remember that, Rodney, of where the guy goes to the past life pavilions and he's he's a native and he's running away from a lion. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah, I guess that'd be funny after you're already dead and gone, you know. So anyway, so they take you to past your life in the past and help you experience some of the things you do that are humorous to you now. You know, it would be humorous.
Yeah, just to be alive
Just to be alive.
afterwards.
Yeah,
You
after
know,
all
yeah.
that. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Jane, I think you're up again.
All beings enjoy this sort of reversion except those who are inherent creators, hence automatic self-rejuvenators and certain highly specialized type of creatures, such as the power centers and the physical controllers, who are always and eternally thoroughly businesslike in all their reactions. These periodic releases from the tension of functional duty are a regular part of life on all worlds throughout the universe of universes, but not on the Isle of Paradise. Beings indigenous to the central abode are incapable of depletion and are not therefore subject to re energizing. And with such beings of eternal paradise, perfection, there can be no such reversion to evolutionary experiences.
And
That
why is
makes
that?
sense.
Not necessary.
They don't have
Need it.
evolutionary experiences to relate to, right? And you know, and you can see why the power centers and physical controllers, I mean, what are they going to do? Let's turn off the power for somebody for a few minutes. You know, wouldn't be very funny, would it?
They
So
never had emotions to begin with.
that's right. That's right. They don't. So they don't need the reversion. It's interesting that the paradise beings don't need any reversion at all, though. That always seemed kind of interesting to me. But they don't have experience from the past, so I guess there's nothing to experience.
But aren't they in a constant state of elation?
They must be, Jane. I don't
Yeah.
know how else you would explain it, right?
That-
Because
that kinda, yeah.
they're perfected beings, but the creator sons and the creative local mother spirits don't need regenerating either, do they? So since they came from paradise, they're just like the paradise citizens, where to them, life is just life. It stays constant all the time. So,
It's 7 o'clock or
oh, is it?
after
Oh,
seven.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, y'all. I'm just going on and on and on.
That's interesting.
On and on.
On and on. Okay, y'all, let's quit here and we will take this up next time there. There's my people back again. This is why it didn't come up, I bet, because I have that open. All right. Let's say a little prayer and we'll quit for tonight. Jane, would you like to pray for us tonight?
Sure.
Close us out a little shortly.
Yes, yes. As always, we give thanks with deep gratitude for this hour. We give thanks for all the provisions that have been made in this perfect order of creation. And we thank the Mother Spirit and our Creator Son, Michael of Nebadan, Jesus Christ. We aspire to follow you, and we pray for the Holy Spirit to guide us along the way. Amen.
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 And thank you for everyone for joining us at home. Please come see us again. Stop the Facebook first. Had some kind of recording.